So what we like cats, so what we like rap. It's not appropriation, it's just appreciation. It's okay to be wrong, it's okay to be right, it's okay to be black. And it's okay to be, okay to be, okay to be. It's okay to be, you were made to be white. It's okay to be, okay to be, okay to be. It's okay to be.
Hope you guys are having a good week, getting your week started. It's a nice sunny day here in Los Angeles. And today is July 1st. And for you that don't know, this is White History Month, according to Jesse Lee, of course. For you guys who are not familiar, White History Month started 2018 by Jesse Lee Peterson. Jesse Lee Peterson is a known personality on the internet. If you're familiar with him, edgy, conservative. You could call him all types of things, but he started this. It always made me laugh too, like a black guy having to start White History Month. I thought that was kind of interesting and funny. I want to bring up with the guys. I know that Brandon is not familiar with it, but I know JC is. So right away, I want to get Brandon's thoughts on this. Brandon, what's your thoughts on White History Month?
Right off the back, it just already sounds far-fetched. So, for me, I don't know how to take it, because at the end of the day, when you're growing up in the school systems in the United States of America, white history, or just history, quote unquote, is shoved down your throat from an early age. So, to dedicate a full month to it seems kind of redundant.
Are you saying that a popular rebuttal to white history that I listen to, that I hear a lot in on Jesse's show, because Jesse's the only guy really pushing this, but a popular rebuttal that I hear is every day is white history. What do you got to say about that?
I can see why people would say that, but for me, it's it goes more along the lines of scholastic education. You're taught that and throughout all your years of going to school. You know what I mean? So if someone says that every day is White History Month, or that's because they feel they're the superior race. But for me, I don't view them that way, and I just view anything that we were taught scholastic wise was already embedded in our brains. So what's the point of having a White History Month if you were already shoving it and programming us from the beginning?
Okay, that's Brandon's thoughts. I'll touch on it later, but I want to get JC's thoughts. So JC, what do you think about white history?
So first and foremost, I want to say shout out to my Mima, my grandma. It's her birthday today. She is up in the 80s, I believe 88, 89. She's still doing pretty strong considering the age. I mean, she's doing a lot better than Biden, that's for sure.
Happy birthday.
And I just wanted to give a quick shout out.
This song is for you. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, shout out to her. And then, another thing, happy, July weekend. Happy 4th of July weekend. This is a big summer for a lot of things that are happening. I'm not a fan of the summer, but here we are. So my thoughts initially with when I first found out about White History Month, I kind of already knew that it was a play on the fact that every other race wants to have their moment or their shine. So it was kind of more like a troll thing to make White History. Sorry about the dogs. To troll on people that have their own History Month. So for example, Black History Month, it was dedicated for one whole month of representing the Black community or the Black culture. Same thing with like the Native Americans and whatnot. So I when I first heard about it, it was more as in he's purposely doing this because it is dumb. It is a dumb thing to have a White History Month, but it's the same with Black History Month, with Native History Month. Any culture, any race, it's dumb to dedicate a whole month when you should be grateful for history in general. So it's not so much that it's oh we're if you say you're a racist person because yeah every day is White History Month. No, history is just history as it is, whether you're Asian, black, brown, purple, it don't matter. But it grew and it started to stick, and it became more like a joking thing as well.
Yeah.
And it's not that they go out of their way to like put up signs and stuff like that. It's just he knows that it's something that will kind of annoy people, so he does it in that aspect.
Mm.
But if you're not into your feelings and all that stuff, it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't really affect you. And people are always going to get offended about something. And on to end that note, boy, was June Pride Month as well, which is another thing, another set of things that people celebrate a whole month, which was unnecessary. And the disgusting things that happened in San Francisco, it's just ridiculous. So,
Yeah, you hit that, you hit the nail on the head with that. That's basically what it is. It's a troll on everybody else having a month, but the white people are not allowed to have a month. And I think that's interesting. I think that if everybody's getting a month, I think that white people deserve it just as much. I get where Brandon's coming from. The fact that when you go to LAUSD here in Los Angeles, the school system, the educational system here, they paint the story black and white. It's very white people are bad. Oh, white people also found the place and they're good. So I get the confusion people growing up in the LAUSD system will have about white people in general. They paint they paint Abraham Lincoln to be a guy who saved the slaves. Like, oh, thank the white man, he saved us. But guess what? The white man put you in the same place. So I get that. And I'm looking at the list here, and everything has a month, right? Like February, Black History Month, but it's also LGBT History Month as well in the United Kingdom. So in March, we got Irish American History Month, Women's History Month, Youth Arts Month. April, Arab American Heritage Month. There's even a Jazz Appreciation Month, National Pet Month, Second Chance Month. I like that one. Sexual Assault Awareness Month. May, you got ALS Awareness Month, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I mean, I could go on and on, right? And then, like JC said, June, you got LGBT Pride Month, which is celebrated more than any other month, I think, at this point. But
absolutely.
Sorry. July has National Ice Cream Month. July, which should be White History, because why not? We already celebrate the 4th of July. And like Jesse says, July just feels white. Which again, it's just a troll for those who are into their feelings. Should not bother you who has a month or who doesn't,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really only going to affect the people that identify with these things. If you don't identify with none of these things, it's just like any other month or any other day. But because it always comes back to the identity, and it will always circle back to that. If you identify with these things, of course, they're going to mean something to you. And if you're emotionally attached to them, it's the reason why it's going to bother you. But if you're not attached to them and it doesn't mean anything to you, you should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's just in general with everything. You walk around this earth, you let other people bother you about what they think or what they say. You're gonna set yourself up to be feeling miserable all your existence, because everybody's dictating how you should feel, what you should think. But anyway, I asked the guys because I do realize white people get a lot of hate, especially here in America. There's a big divide here. If you're not from the Americas, I know we got some listeners out there in Romania. Shout out them. But if you're not from America, you don't understand that there is such divide, and people practice it all the time. Whether it be thinking it's okay to cut the white guy off, thinking it's okay, to punk the white guy, to rob the white guy. Oh, he's jogging in the neighborhood. Let's rob him. Um, but yeah, so they're kind of looked at as targets. Like there's been like when you talk about like people who get robbed, I think here in LA, a big percentage is white people. Like people who these robbers, they go to these nice neighborhoods, the neighborhoods like Melrose, and they rob these people at their houses, like because it looks like they're gonna give it up target. So, but it also goes to a deeper thing where it's like, why don't they have a month, and why don't they want a month? So I asked myself, it's probably because they're too cowardice to think they deserve one, or too cowardice to even speak up about that. They've been so cornered in here that they cannot be celebrating White History Month because, like I said in the beginning, they set up the people growing up in the LAUSD system in America, or just America in general. They set them up to hate white people. So for them to just come out saying like, "Hey, it's gonna be White History Month," that sounds like you're excluding all the other Americans, and people are gonna take offense to it. So I think they're just too cowardice to stand up for themselves, and I think that would be their downfall. So yeah, I want to get thoughts on that. Like, I believe that they deserve they don't I don't deserve it or not, but if you want one, I have no problem with it. Jesse does this to kind of expose people who hate white people. I understand that. In my case, I don't feel that way. I love everybody. Just get your thoughts on that. I'd like to get your thoughts a little more on that.
Who, me or Brandon?
Brandon or you, where wants to?
Well, I don't know. It's like, but I guess I agree with everything you said about if that bothers someone, then obviously if that them having their own month bothers you, then that means obviously that you buy into the whole month of like the month that is dedicated to your heritage, and you believe that's your own, that's your golden moment. But in actuality, these months should just be about awareness. And the thing about a white history month is that how much more aware do we need to be? Like at the end of the day, I'm not really aware of a lot of other cultures, but how much
Right.
more do I have to be
Yeah.
aware in a that where I'm literally from birth dipped in from the ankles, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, my favorite band is, what I mean, are not like black musicians, they're white musicians. So I mean that has to just tell you how wherever you're at, like it does not matter, like because you're going to get that slice of history. It don't
Yeah.
matter the day or the month.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I asked the guys to give me like or to put together like a top 3 white people that they look up to. So if you guys did that, or you could come up with maybe 1 or 2 on the spot for me. Like I want to kind of hear that, like who are these? Because you said Billy Joe, like when I hear White History Month, like just see him, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I learned a lot from that guy, I guess, and he happened to be white. Like, so I want to hear with you guys is top 3 white people are. So JC, if you want to give me your top 3, if you have one.
Well, wouldn't say necessarily I have a top 3. There has been one person that I kind of came across, and it's funny because his name is very similar to Jesse Lee Peterson, but it's Jordan Peterson, which is he's Canadian, but I mean he's really considered as a white neo-Nazi, So he's just one person that I listen to and I admire the way he speaks and talks about things and shares his thoughts and stuff. Very articulate, and he has an understanding of like he's very has a lot of empathy towards people, and is just witty about it as well, which makes it even more of a reason to listen to him. But other than that, I mean, who's one to say that really like if we're saying white is based on the color of your skin, but most white people are not even like fully white. They're mixed with European or whatever the case may be. Like they're not strictly straight white. So it's hard to say really who's like generally just white or whatever. America is a melting pot of a bunch of different cultures in here. The only reason why they say that is because the people that founded the country so happen to be white. So that's why it's like that. I think blown over proportion of why people's like, oh well, America belongs to the white people. No, they're the ones that may have started it and very grateful for it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they own America or they own anybody other than when they did have slaves. But that's a whole different thing. Jordan Peterson is probably the only person that I can say right now that I kind of admire in that aspect.
Yeah, yeah. Brandon?
Um, I guess for me it would have to be because I would envision myself like as like the lead singer of Green Day. So I'll give Billy Joel Armstrong his due. I'm gonna say my brother too. You know what I'm saying? Like my brother could draw, could shoot, tall as
Yeah, and
hell.
your brother is half white, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely him too.
Mm.
Um, I'm gonna shout out Ryan too because just his knowledge, like hustler. He was like he was just different.
Yeah. And this was white guy you grew up close to, huh? Like one
Yeah,
of the
he was
few
my
white
neighbor.
guys in the neighborhood that
Right,
there's
right,
always that white guy that hangs out, you know what I mean?
right.
Like
But
for
he wasn't like he didn't talk like you know what I'm saying. He's from Scottsdale, Arizona, so he talked like he's from Scottsdale, Arizona.
hmm Yeah, like you know, I've always had a white guy that became friends and you know got into our inner circle. For me, it was a guy named Mark.
Hmm.
You know, it was the first time I interacted with a white person on a daily basis and seeing his family and of course kind of jealous of what he had because they have money, you know, like he had all the wrestlers, he had the ring, you know, like, and I remember I used to
Hmm.
go to his house and we used to play like every game, like he had them all, you know. um Sorry to paint a dark picture, but like his mom dying in the corner smoking cigarettes going bald. And I just remember like seeing that chemistry of them and seeing how he didn't care for her necessarily. If anything, he hated her and would scream in her face and just that scenery, but at the same time wishing I had what he had.
Hmm.
You know, like I said, he had all the wrestlers. You know, back in the '90s, the toys were the only thing we had, and he had them all. You know, so you know, there's always that white guy, even in like Blood In, Blood Out, American Me, all these movies. They got Miklo.
It.
Yeah, so you know, so white we don't, as you know, as the black and brown community, we don't really we don't grow up around white people too much. It's actually very not shocking, but very eye-opening to know that here in LA and in most ghettos here in California, it's only black and brown communities. You would not see white families. Absolutely not. Here in South Central, you don't see any. In East LA, I don't think I don't know. JC could speak on that, but you don't see any over there. Uh, you know what I mean? Like these hoods, it's just filled with black and brown, and it's been like that. So we don't grow up with white people, but in a way we do, because some of the best lessons I learned were from like Boy Meets World and shows like that, you know, like, and these were white people with, you know, white actors, white show basically. And so I've never grown up, and to be fair, I never paid attention in school. So whatever type of propaganda they were pushing in school, I never bought into it because I didn't care about school. So I grew up, watching Boy Meets World and stuff like that, loving that, So I never thought of a white guy as my enemy, or he's trying to hold me back or anything like that. So when it comes to my top, favorite white people, like I just think about like nostalgic actors I grew up around. Like these are not even people who are like necessarily great at anything. They're just like, I think about like Chris Farley. I think about the actors growing up like in Boy Meets World, things like that. Those people that I watched all the time in my growing up. And I was just grateful. And of course, my parents came here from their respective countries. We're not American, we weren't raised, I was born here. I'm the first ever in my generation to be born here. So I'm of a difference. I think, Brandon as well. If I'm not mistaken, your dad came here. So you were the first generation
Right.
here.
Yeah.
So, JC, I think you were second generation, right? Like your mom was born here?
No, my mom was actually born in
okay.
TJ.
Okay. Was she
I mean,
raised
she
here?
was born. Yeah, she was raised here, but she was born in TJ.
I
So
see.
I guess you could still count it like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So to me, I was, I'm just imagine driving with your pops, right? Like down Broadway when he used to crack, and you're listening to Hotel California and just loving it, Hotel California made by white people. I never thought about it like, oh, that's white music, fuck that, I wasn't, that's an American product, bro. That is an American product. And my heart goes out to those people who feel that way, because I learned a lot from white people. Some of my favorite guitarists are white. My favorite artists are white. So to me, I just took it for what it was, not for history's sake, because I believe we all have a effed up history. So I don't judge people on what their history is as a people. I just judge the person on a person by person basis. So like, I learned a lot from white people, bro. So I'm grateful for them. Some of my favorite actors, I know me and Brandon share a lot of favorite actors, like Paul Rudd,
Yeah.
Jason Segel. The list could go on and on, bro. Do I look at these people and go like, oh, fuck these guys, they're white, I can't like it, they're white, like, no. And it's crazy because what I'm saying right now, it could be flipped over, and there's racist people who don't want to give black people their due. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Other cultures, but yeah.
there's
definitely.
other cultures who hate black people. They don't listen to their music. They don't want to watch their movies. They don't want to hang out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I feel at the end of the day, it says something that white people are like, don't want that White History Month. In a sense, it says something that we don't care.
But then you have like you have people that are very, very pro-black and hear that, and they get upset for us. So low key, we don't really need to be upset because they more upset with the fact that the notion.
Oh, they hate it.
And then even at the notion of it coming from another black man, that probably makes their mind explode.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and like JC said, they're trying to get a reaction. Jesse's trying to get a reaction. Jesse's a smart guy. He might come off as slow or something, but he's a very smart guy. He knows how to work people and push their buttons to make it apparent to themselves that, look, you have a problem. Look, something's bothering you. Why does it bother you? And I get it. Like, I'm looking at the list. Armenians, everybody being celebrated, right? Puerto Rican Day Parade, Mexican this, you know what I mean? I don't mind. Let them, if they feel they have to do that, whatever. This is the beauty of America. We're all able to express ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I will touch on the fact there. I mean, shout out to Boy Meets World, one of the greatest shows ever. But
When this boy meets world.
what I was gonna say is that fucking dog. What I was gonna say is the fact that there, when you're growing up, there's a sense of moment in time where you're innocent, you're unaware of these things, and you're not thinking as when you're younger about each other's races, unless unless it was drilled since the very beginning as a little kid. If you're a white family, be aware of black people, or if you're in the
Yeah.
black family, be aware of white people.
Yeah.
But most cases, there is also like the cultural differences between, like, okay, like when I would see Boy Meets World, it's like, oh, that's the perfect example of what a family should be. you know
Yeah.
not so much that because they're white, but that's just like the definition of the way, like,
Yeah.
a family should be. But then you had other shows like Family Matter, right? And that was like the opposite of that. Like,
Yeah.
it was just the black culture and how they went about it. They had little, it was almost similar, it had the same family
Same house.
values.
Same house.
Same
It's
house.
the biggest love in the family.
The same set.
Great theme
Same
songs.
song. Yeah, right.
Um, but there's little nuances and little things, that like only black people will be able to understand. And I think Denzel said this too. I think they had asked him, why did you hire this black director instead of a white director or something like that? And he's all like, only a black director is gonna understand like certain cultures of the black community. And I was like, okay, I get that, I understand that, but that's still, you're still playing like that race card. Like,
It's not. It's still a cultural thing. At the end of the day, it's not a black thing. It's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you don't grow up with hair that is nappy, he was making the point of, if you don't ever grow up with hair that's nappy, or that when water hits it, it don't do what it does to straight hair, then you have to hit that with a hot comb, and you don't know that smell. You don't know that feeling of burning yourself because you're trying to get that person's hair ready in the morning. Like, there's little things that we all had to do,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, growing up. And it's like people didn't do that growing up.
Yeah.
Like, if I say, oh, did you guys, like, how you guys prepared for church in the morning, probably way different than how we prepare for church in the morning. We went for church for 2 hours, you know what I'm saying?
Mama
Singing,
screaming out the
hollering,
door. Mama screaming out the
feel
door.
me?
Get your asses out the door. We
One of
late.
us, one of us getting hit, one of us
You know what
getting
I
hit
mean?
for not being fast enough, you know what I'm saying? Similarities, yes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
trust, there's a lot of little nuances that in everyone's cultural, like, different, like, you guys, not you guys, excuse me, I'll just say, like, the
What do you mean,
Spanish
you
culture.
guys?
I know, right?
Not
uh,
play.
just because I don't know if you guys grew up like that, but a lot of stories or a lot of joking, they always joke about the chanclas, oh, don't watch out the chancla and the super chancla, like
Yeah.
that person who always picks up the flipper and hits you and stuff like that. Like, that's like a running joke in a lot of cultures. Like,
Yeah.
they had it, but I didn't get a chancla. I got, you know what I'm saying? My mom be like, I'm gonna whip your ass with a belt. Like,
Ooh.
what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no chanclas there. So it's like, at the end of the day, there's little nuances. Like, that's why you'll see in a Latino director's movie, you'll see more stuff that you guys can relate to as opposed to what I could relate to.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna get at is that I think that hinders it a lot, in the sense of, like, for example, how Tyler Perry only hires black actors, and like the whole production is like black people, and even the people that work within the camera and all that stuff, they're all black people. Like,
That sounds like a
it,
lot of
it
black people getting jobs. That sounds great to me.
no, no, I'm not saying that it's not. But what it doesn't, it's not always going to produce the best quality outcome or the best product out there. Just simply because you don't want to have. That's the competition part of it that hurts us. It's the fact
How
that,
did
oh
Gary
well,
Owen sneak through there? Like,
the,
I think they're just like, just because but I think you're also not giving these people their flowers for having the credentials to even be hired. At the end of the day, they're not just, oh, I'm black so I qualify. They actually have degrees. They actually are in cinematography. So it's not like you're just giving out handouts here. You're giving them to people who are qualified. It was his mission to make it like that, you know what I'm saying? So you have to respect that. Now, I don't think you can't even go, no, if like, people like to play devil advocate and go, no, if a white person does that, they already do, bro. How many movies did you see where they replace
Yeah, you're right.
the Asian guy, the Latino guy with a white guy? What was it, Christian? Oh no, it was
Kung Fu
was
Panda
it
is
the
Jack Black. Oh wait,
You come on
I got
now.
him twisted. I think.
No, you're right.
Oh, it
He
is.
is. Yeah, you're right. And then what's his that one movie? Pompeii. What
Pompeii.
is it?
What?
Pompeii. Thank you. That's in Egypt. If I'm not mistaken, correct?
I'm not sure.
Is that in like the Middle East or something
Pompeii
like
sounds
that?
like Greece or something.
Greece?
I'm not sure. I don't know. But they
Anyway,
got
they made a
Robert Downey
movie.
Jr. playing a brother. You know what I mean? You
No,
know
that's
it's effed up.
compared. But that was for parody.
White
That's
people
different.
se pasa, no.
No,
That was
no. What I'm
that
trying
was
to say
They
is
go
that
overboard.
the best person for the job should, if whoever's gonna get that job, like for example, like if we think about Beverly Hills Ninja, right, Chris Farley playing,
Yes.
you know,
And
but
then
he did a great he you know
yeah.
he did a great job.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I can't picture that job being given to anybody else. It
like
just so happened that
You can't see him and Chris Rock trading roles. You know what I mean? No, I get you. I definitely believe Chris Farley killed
Yeah.
that.
I mean, he
yes.
was advertised as the white ninja, like not necessarily an Asian guy. He was like the white guy that would come to an Asian country. It was kind of like that, the scroll, if I'm not mistaken, like in the movie. Like the white ninja will come, save us from whatever, you know.
Yeah,
So
well,
he
again,
wasn't like appropriating Asian people, I think, you know.
yeah, but
No, he
regardless,
was like found. Yeah, it was the lore.
Yeah, yeah,
my point is that what I was just trying to get at is that just because white people have been doing it for this long, or white people have been doing it like this, doesn't still make it a right thing. That it's you're segregating yourself even more, because even if you're like, oh well, white people have been doing this for so long, now the black people need to have their turn and their chance. I don't necessarily believe that to be the case. If people want to do it like that, they are like and Stephen A brought this up again. He's like, and he said it. He's like, oh, the whole nepotism with Bronny James and stuff like that. He's like, oh well, white people have been doing it, so now it's turn for the black people to do it. Like, to me, that's just all ignorant and insane in that aspect. Like, sure, he's getting the opportunity because of his father or whatnot. Whether he was white, black, Asian, it doesn't matter. Like, that nepotism there's not bound by color. But we always turn it back into the color just simply because, oh, he was white, so because he was white and they did it first, now it's our turn to do it. It's still a division that is being put
yeah,
between us when that doesn't need to be there. If a person is qualified for the job, and they're both, it's a black guy and a white guy. Same thing with the NBA. Like, it's dominated mostly by black guys, you know what I mean. So it's not like, oh well, he's white, so that we're gonna get him on the team. No, the black guy that's really good and is skillful, he's gonna get the job over the white guy. No matter how pretty that white guy is, no matter how much money that white guy has,
yeah.
no, the best player is gonna get the job, or gonna get that opportunity.
It's different when you're filling out a job application though, because they're asking you a race right off the bat. So at the end of the day, you're being judged off your race, no matter what.
Right, no,
You know,
I understand that.
Jesse Lee Peterson, he says that he doesn't hire black people, which I don't believe him. I think he's trolling, but because he obviously has black workers.
Didn't
But
have isn't Joel black?
that's what I'm saying. But I think that he says that when he looks at a resume and he sees a black name, that automatically, and when he says black name, he means like names that are like automatically gonna tell you it's a black person, as opposed to like, I'm not familiar with too many black names, but I'm pretty sure people know when they see a black name, people know when they see a Hispanic name, and people know when they see a white name, you know.
I'm
So
talking more if they're like ghetto and stuff like that.
yeah,
Not like
but
not
also
like
the name.
A Jamal Jackson, or you know what I mean, like a Jamal, I don't
Yeah.
know, Johnson or something. I don't know. It's just more the fact that if it's like LaQuisha Laquanda or something like that, like that, I think. And again, it's done purposely. It's not. He knows it's going to annoy people and it's going to get
Yeah.
people to in a way. That's the only reason why he's doing it.
Yeah. I get it. Like, he does that to rile people up. Like he believes, like, cause like you said, it's hard when you're filling up an application because they ask you for your race and they ask you for all these things. And right now, a viral topic actually is, you know, when Trump said immigrants are taking the black jobs, And there's a lot of pushback on that. Like people are like, "Oh, I didn't know this was a black job. What's a black job?" Like what are you saying by black jobs? Black people only deserve to be at the counter at the Jack in the Box. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are black jobs? So there was a lot of pushback on that statement. What do you guys think a black job is?
There's no such thing as a black job. It's just the job. Like all these things that people do, like mundane things, should never be black while doing, white while doing, Asian while doing. They're mundane things, and human beings make accidents, like have accidents, like are could what I'm saying, be in inconspicuous situations. So it's crazy, like to think that, and it just shows you where his mindset's always been.
Yeah,
Like to
yeah.
say that
No,
there's black jobs, like that's insane. There ain't
there
no such thing. Ain't no such thing.
there is such thing as black jobs, and just as there is Hispanic jobs. Most maintenance workers are dominated by the Hispanic community. Most
But
construction
that's a
jobs.
percentage. You're saying, see, you're not saying all. When you say all, then yes, then sure. But you're saying most, which means that's a percentage of people that are still black that work as custodial or maintenance or what's the other one? Janitorial. It doesn't matter. Or construction. It's a blend. So it can't. There's no such thing, bro, as a racial or race or color job. No way.
It's not a
Unless
blend.
Jim Crow's still alive.
It's not a blend when it's 10 Hispanics to one black person. That's not a blend. It's dominated by it's mostly dominated by the Hispanic community. So yes, I understand there's black people that will do maintenance work or janitorial work and all that stuff, but the outcome of it is still a lot higher with Hispanics mainly taking up those jobs because the black community does not want to do those type of jobs. They're willing to do anything else, or willing to sell drugs, or willing to do all these other things, opposed to ever taking that job because it's a disgrace to do that type of work. Or I'm not gonna. I'm a black man. I'm not gonna go clean a man's white building. Like it's viewed like that. So they'll either sell drugs or not even have a job simply because of that. It goes back to, well, because the white man owns that building. That's why I'm not gonna do that job. And so they go to other avenues. And if we're gonna be honest, most drug dealings are dominated by black people. Most black people are the ones that do the most selling of drugs. So that is a black job. It's not a legal job, but it is a job nonetheless.
I don't believe drug dealing is ran by. As a matter of fact, if anybody runs drug dealing, it's Latinos.
Like, what do you like? Hello,
And by Latinos,
the
I mean we
cartel.
are the cartel. We supply. If that's not running it, then I don't know what is.
Nobody said that they don't run it. I'm just saying they
What I'm
black people
saying
are
is
the.
that there is no such thing as a
Okay. So
race
so so
job, bro.
I get
How
what.
could there be
Yeah.
specifically just for? How could you just say that? You're saying from a percentage that there is a percentage of drug dealers that are black, but there's a percentage of drug dealers that are Hispanic. There's a percentage of drug dealers that are Asian. So is that an Asian job as well? Is it a Spanish job? No,
No,
because
no,
your
no.
argument
I,
is
I,
that it's 10 to 1, which makes it predominantly that race's job. That no, because then
I,
you're saying, okay, let's look at it from this point of view. How many jobs are predominantly white? So is that a white job?
well, when you think about doctor, you only think about white and Asian.
There's a lot of Indian doctors. Is it an Indian job?
Right. 7-Eleven. You got. Yeah, I want to take it there.
You just went somewhere strange, bro. You just went to 7-Eleven with it.
Yeah,
Why?
I'm
I'm
saying
saying there's Indian doctors as well. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There is no that stigma is created because we are from the States. This
yes.
stigma
I
of
think
what
that's what
we
I'm saying.
believe is a black job, a white history month, a black history month. That shit is programmed in our brains to where the point where you actually believe that a black job is
It's drug
strictly
dealing.
drug dealing. That's insane, bro.
Ah. Elaborate on that, JC, please. Because I was asking legal jobs, but you took it somewhere else. So can you elaborate on that?
It's always predicated and dictated on how you were raised at home. I'm not saying black people can't be doctors. I'm not saying black people can't have businesses. I'm not saying none of that stuff. But if you really look at it in the bigger picture of what people do and how they choose their career path and the way they go, Again, it's all predicated on how they raised. If they had a single mother raised at home, most likely of them are going to go to jail, or most likely they're going to end up selling drugs. That's just the facts. It's not because I say it is. That's just what the percentage shows, that most people, and even if they're Hispanic too. I'm not saying it's not only excluded to black people, but what I'm
But you
saying is
are
that
that's what you are doing right now. You're
most
saying that it's
most
specifically a black job.
yes,
That's what I'm trying to get you to
because
not say, because
the
it's
hip
not. It's
the hip
also a
the hip
job for Hispanics and
the
Asians
hip
and
hop
other
community
races.
the hip hop community pushes that the most out of anybody. The
I
hip
think
hop
I think what
community
we're getting.
pushes
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hold on. The
Sorry.
hip hop community pushes the most of doing those things, selling drugs, fucking women, being degradable, doing all that stuff. Most hip hop music is all leading you to do those type of things, to have that type of job, to have that type of luxury. That's why I say that. Again, people, if you're black and you want to be a doctor or become a construction worker, whatever the case you may be, you have that ability. But most likely than not, by the way you were raised, most of these things are going to lead you by your own community, because well, that's what the community says you should be doing.
I just want to say, this goes back to having an identity in the group of people you were born into. A perfect example is the moment JC says that drug dealing is a black job. Uh, you know, and you identify with that, and I could see Brandon, he didn't like that. It's the same thing as somebody saying, "Oh, Hispanics are fruit pickers.
It goes both ways.
Hispanics clean
Yes.
toilets." And if
Yes.
I identify with that, hey, guess what? That's true though. Hispanics do clean toilets. Hispanics do dig through shit. Hispanics do pick food. Hispanics will do the nasty stuff, the dirty, the dangerous jobs. They will do that. So if someone says that, if a white person or anybody else comes around and tells me, "Oh, Hispanics, oh yeah, you're a fruit picker," if I identify with that, my feelings will get hurt. So right now is a perfect example of Brandon, and JC's not wrong. You're raised by a single mother. You do have a big percentage goes against you of actually ever achieving anything without a positive role, a father in the home. I don't want to say a positive role model because they can only do so much. They don't live with you. But without a father in the home, I think the statistics were something around like 78 now percent of black kids don't have their father. And
That's correct.
and those are statistics. And yes, hip hop pushes degeneracy, but I like to think that that's not black culture. But that's my opinion. I think hip hop, it's like saying, corridos, which is like the gangster rap of Mexico, called corridos. I don't think that's Mexican culture, but they push chopping the head off. They push selling kilos, fucking women, getting drugs. I mean, they push the same shit. And I don't believe that's Mexican culture. But we got people who are Mexican doing that, yes. You got black people who are doing that, yes. But bro, if we take a step back and look at the past, bro, black people are responsible for some of the greatest things in the world. Some of the best music in the world, they're responsible for. When I look back at Sam Cooke, I don't see him as a drug dealer. When I look back at Chuck Berry, when I look back at BB King, people I grew up listening to, the Delphonics singing beautiful music, the Temptations, these are not drug dealers to me. So I wouldn't do it because I'm not completely sure about that, but I wouldn't say, these people are the same as the people you see today. And I think we're all losing our way as a people. Like, we got Hispanics doing crazy stuff too. We got white people doing crazy shit. Black people are doing crazy stuff too. Like, it's but we don't identify with that. Like, I can't say even though in this world it's true, like, yes, Hispanics do the cherry picking, they do this, they do that. Oh, the Hispanics don't, they're broke, their house is full of roaches. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could keep going insulting each other, but I think it's a by day to day, it's a people by people basis. But like Brandon said, we are taught to think this shit. We are taught to think, hey, black people, they're no good.
Look,
That's not a true statement.
I was once there. I told you at one point I thought white privilege was a thing. I thought white people were the most dominant people in the world. I thought they always had more chances and better lifestyle than I
Smarter
did.
and stuff, yeah.
And all that stuff. But as I grew up and I started to realize that that wasn't the case, I was lied to. So yes, there is conditioning. There is things that make you think, yeah, well, black people are the only ones that sell drugs. I'm not saying that they're the only ones that sell drugs, but I'm saying that it is dominated mostly right here in America. It may be different in Mexico. Yeah, Mexico is not going to be black people dominating selling drugs. It's going to be the cartel. It's going to be Hispanic people doing that. Hispanic people don't get excluded out of all of this. I know what the capability of what technically my own people, if we want to say that, are capable of doing. I know what they're willing to do and how they've done it. It's evil all around. It's bad all around. It's just the fact that we get attached to these things and we think that we have to defend the black community or we have to defend the Latino community, and that's not the case. If the Latino community wants to burn themselves, let them burn themselves. That's on them. I'm not going to get caught up in their things and the things that they're doing and represent Mexican pride and all that stuff. That's just not me. I understand what they're capable of doing. I know what the black people are capable, and Asian people, white people. I know what every single race is capable of evil, and it's all bad all around. So there is no difference. I don't see it in that aspect. If people want to get upset, then that's fine. You have every right to. But at this end of the day, if we identify with these things, this is what's going to hurt us, and that's what's going to separate us, and that's what cause more division than anything else.
Heard it here, guys. Tackling some tough subjects today. Yeah, so, just to wrap up this white history thing, like, I don't mind it. I grew up watching, white people all the time, and it's fine. I grew up watching black people as well. I don't mind anything. I grew up on this stuff, and I think the thing that really sheltered me from all of this was having immigrant parents or people that were parents that weren't from here, because they knew nothing about that. So when they got here, they weren't putting that in my head, and I didn't pay attention to school, so I was really sheltered from that propaganda, and of course, like, I don't live with that hate in my heart. I know some people live like that, they hate certain people. I get that, but I encourage you guys to let go of that anger and not identify with your color, because if you identify with your color, you're gonna really have to take on everything your color does, and the good and the bad, and it's just not a way to live. You have to be an individual. You're not a group. You're not a monolith. You are an individual. I think the panel here understands that we are individuals and we are gonna have to respond for ourselves. We are a reflection of our race. So somewhere inside, we try to carry ourselves with decency, because of course we want people to look. It is an ego thing, but we want people to look at our race and respect it. Everybody wants respect. At least every man wants respect, and that's fine. To have some type of pride in where you come from. It's just natural to have it. So I naturally have a Mexican pride, like whenever Canelo fights, it's a big Mexican thing for me, and I love it. It makes you feel proud to see someone like you doing, making it do what it do, and it just, it was a prideful thing. I understand it. I see it. I could catch it, but I gotta admit, it feels good to see people of your kind, or at least your race, do these things, but it is a shame that we've become so separated from each other that we feel like we're not even alike anymore. There's such thing as races, in a deeper level, like there isn't, but it's kind of a shame that we've become so separated as a people, as a as a together people. We all do different things different ways. We call it our culture, and it separates us at the end of the day. So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, for me, I just, like I said, I try to go away from labeling or categorizing things or categorizing people in a specific bracket just because I'm living, breathing proof of like, you don't have to be classified to what the, statistics say, as a matter of fact, because stats don't really mean anything, you know what I mean, at the end of the day when you try to, gamble on yourself and define the odds. So for me, it's not about it's not about defending the black race. No, it's about defending the human race and erasing these barrier lines that even even when you try to say that you're not like that, it comes out still could come out because you still see it a certain way. You still call it what it was, or you still think it is what it is. You don't see it as just everyone could do it. You see it as, well, since a higher percentage is black, and just label it that. So, once you get to a place where you obviously see that it's not just one race or in anything, in any type of job, we say fruit picking. Black people have been picking cotton for fucking decades. Come on now. Everybody does some shit job. I'm a CNA, you know what I'm saying? I clean people for a living. I deal with mentally ill patients. Half the staff's it's a mixture of race. People that are just trying to work. There's people that are just for check. People that care. It's not just one race that just cares. Not just one race there that's just willing to do the dirty work. It's all races doing the dirty work, doing the job. Human
I,
beings.
I kind of find it hard to believe that you're saying you don't live your life on stats. If there is a 40% chance if you're on a plane and the parachute wasn't going to open, and there was a 40% chance it was going to open, you're going to not jump off that plane because of the stats.
Am I
So you
really
can't.
thinking about am I really thinking about stats in a life or death situation though? Am I thinking about
It
40%? No, I'm thinking about I got to make a move. I got to make a decision. I'm not thinking about 40% this and 50% that. No, I'm not thinking of percentages in a life or death situation. You're bringing up a life or death situation.
it
I'm
it's
talking about statistics when you're bringing up trying to defend what a black job is. That's what I'm talking about.
well,
I'm not talking about a life or death situation where you're defending the odds of me dying as opposed to me staying alive. That's like what does that have to do
and
with that?
everything that we do have to take those things in consideration whether you want to believe it or not. Now your
It is a
opinion.
consideration. The percentage is factual, like you said, but why that doesn't classify or determine that is a black job. Like your argument was that it was a black job, and that's my only thing that I'm saying. It's not a black job. You cannot classify a race as a job. You can't just say, uh, this race does this job. That's my only take on that. I'm not delusional in what I'm saying here. I
That's
understand the
unfortunate.
statistics. I understand the statistics, but the statistics don't tell me shit about a race. That shit tells me that there's a percentage of that race that fucking obviously does shit that other percentages of races does as well. So
No, I understand, and I see why you feel that way. I just hope and I pray that you may get out of that inside of your head and take it too personal when it's not about it should you shouldn't be taking this personal because it shouldn't affect you in any way. But I understand why you feel that way, and I hope that one day you'll see it and you come out of that darkness.
right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Uh, like I said, I do believe we don't want to identify with groups, but it is what it is, and I know a lot of people do, and I'm not completely with JC on the whole black job thing. He took it somewhere else with that, but I understand both sides. I
What do
understand
you
JC's.
mean? Stop trying to make it seem like I like I purposely did this.
I'm making it. What I'm saying is I'm not with you on that. That's what I'm
That's
saying.
fine. Nobody's saying that you have to. Nobody
No,
said
but
you had
but
to
but you
agree
say,
with
what do
me
you
on that.
mean? I'm
But
saying that's
you're
what I
trying to
mean.
like separate yourself, like, oh well, JC said this, so don't.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
This is
because
it's an open conversation, and we're
well,
talking
I'm
about it. You're
saying
the
I'm
one that
not.
brought up this.
That's what
You're, hold
I'm just.
on,
I just said
Michael.
that. That's not what I'm. I don't
You
agree with
brought
that.
up this. You brought this up. You're
Yes.
the one that brought this whole situation up. You wanted us to talk and let us know how we feel. Just because I say something about, again, I never said it's just a black person job. Y'all keep pushing it. I just said it. It's just a black. No, Hispanic people sell drugs too. So it's not just black people, but there is more of a percentage of black people doing that type of stuff here in America. So
It
whether
just
you
sounds
want to
like your
like it,
stance changed a little bit because obviously, if that was your like, if you were saying it that in that manner, I would have just went on and agreed with you. But like in the midst of you talking about what a black job was, you brought up drug dealing, and
Yes.
I just thought
And
that was kind of like,
I was thinking like, what
no,
is an
I'm gonna go
actual
ahead and
job?
stop you there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop you there
I was
and tell you,
asking
no,
like,
that's
what's an
just a
actual
job.
job, because I was interested to understand like what is a black job, like, and I started thinking, what is a black job? One thing that I could think of from the top of my head is whenever I go to the DMV, I do see a lot of black folks in the DMV, so that's like the only thing I could think of. But when you said that, I was just like, oh yeah, like no, I can't agree with that because we don't know that. And right away I thought like, what about the Mexican cartel? What about every person that's Hispanic that's selling drugs around the world? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, I was like, I don't even think those numbers are real. But
that's
if
fine. I'm not trying to keep a black card here. I really don't care what people think, honestly.
no, I mean, you got to stand on what you said. You said it, but you know, I just like I said, I right away I thought about everybody else who does it, and I was like, I don't know if that's true, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Poor everybody else. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Maybe I don't know, but it is what it is. And like I said, you know, White History Month. I thought that was a funny thing Jesse did. Um, I like it. You know, I like that he does that. So give it a round of applause for that. Realistically, would it be a national thing? I don't think so because, you know, white people kind of been pushed into the corner now that they're not gonna actually fight for anything. They're just a different breed of white people now. Like, even Jesse talks about it. Like, you know, back in the day, he used to talk about that white people were a lot more tougher and more upfront, and now they're just kind of cowardice, and I could see that. Uh, and that's for that reason, I don't think they will ever have an actual month. But you know, maybe things change. I don't know. But I'm not against it or
It's
for it or anything.
it's not so much that they were tougher. No matter what, even if any other black person would say that no, they were just racist. So it's not so much that they were tougher, is that they spoke their mind and they didn't fold so easily. But no matter what, a black person is gonna see it as being racist. No matter what a white person does, says, or acts, it's always gonna come out as they're the ones being racist, not the black people. When black people could just be as racist as white people.
I agree with that. But see, this is the thing that I don't agree on. Is the only thing I don't agree on that I feel that you're coming from is that black people are more racist than white people.
Now, in now time, in this
We
very
don't
moment,
have
yes.
stats for that.
What do
We
you
don't
mean?
know
It's so
that.
obvious. It's so
Obvious
obvious.
where?
You just said it right now. White people are not willing to speak up or say anything
Yes.
because of the black
I
people
didn't say
that
black people.
dominate. I'm not saying
I
you
said they've been
did.
pushed into a corner and they're not going to speak up, but pushed into the
And
corner by everybody, not just
who's
black
doing
people.
who's doing it? The Asians?
Hispanics,
No,
black
stop,
people.
stop,
You don't
stop.
think Hispanics are pushing white people into a corner?
No, no, you know damn well they're not. Their fight is not the same like that. They're not complaining. They're not complaining about every little thing right now.
Have you been on TikTok?
Okay.
Hispanics complain about
Sure.
all types of shit.
Get your stats from TikTok. That's a wonderful
I'm
source.
saying this is where I could see Hispanic people complaining more than I've
I'm
ever
not
seen in
saying,
my life.
Michael. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not saying that they don't. Get it straight. I'm just saying that they're not as prevalent. They're not pushing as it more than black people right now.
I mean, to me, it's all in the same. Honestly, I see it from everywhere, but if you see it certain just from black people, then maybe that's from your phone. Maybe that's how you see
I
it.
mean, Jesse Lee talks about this all the
I
time.
know, but I don't
His
agree with
main
Jesse on everything he
his
says.
no, his main thing is the fact that the black people are the one pushing more of these things than anybody else. When do you ever see him talk about the Hispanic community? Ever? Not one time.
He does, but not like that. I know, but when we talk
Rarely.
about Jesse, yes, he does that. But is he completely 100% right? I don't think so. He could talk his mind just like you do. But I mean, the way I see it is, I don't watch him to talk. I don't watch him to hear him talk bad about black people. That's not why I watch him. He has a lot more to offer.
Most of these things that you're getting from are all from him.
I'm just talking about the White History Month right now. Yes, I got that from him, but do I agree with everything he says? Do I follow his train of thought? No. I make my own observations. And from what I see from living my life, I don't run into that. I don't run into those. And yes, out in the world, there's a narrative. That's true. Maybe it is it's dominated by black people, that narrative. Okay. I could see that maybe they're pushing the certain things against white people. Maybe, yes. Okay. You know, you see Stephen A. Smith, like you said, like he pushes that a lot of, yeah, white people do it, black people could do it. I see that. But I'm not going to base my life on an opinion of Stephen A. Smith, Jesse Lee, or whoever the hell is on TV. My living experience is that I don't, well, at least at this point in my life, the black people I meet, whether it be, say, me and Brandon are playing ball and we actually we were talking about this guy the other day, like Prince de Jour, this guy we met, I seen him on as anybody else, and he became a homie. You know, he fucks with my shit. He always reaching out, things like that. I think that's where I base my judgment of people is have I met you? How how do I feel when we talk? Oh, we're in the same wave. We're in the same wave, and that's how I carry myself. I don't carry myself by seeing a couple of mad black people and think that's everybody. I don't live in that bubble. I'm outside. I'm actually dealing with people every day. And it's not that for me, in my opinion. But closing here, guys, we appreciate you being here with us. Round of applause. And you can catch up with us. We dropped a Sunday special yesterday. It's Good Deeds. Some funny stories in that pod. If you guys want to go catch up with us, you could. It's on my YouTube. Remember, guys, you can follow us online, all across the boards, all the streaming, all the socials. Gray Bridgewater, Coexist_33, and Enigma _Nova, and Badass Logan Horror Films. Right, Brandon? .com.
Yes, absolutely. Badass horror films. Excuse me, badass Logan horror films.com.
Badass,
Thank you.
badass Logan Horror Films. Keep up with Brandon. He just dropped a new one called First Date Anxiety. It's a good one. We see the return of one of the concurring characters, Michelle. So that's interesting. If you're interested in seeing that, you could find that at his YouTube and keep up with him. And we appreciate you guys for being here. Round of applause, one more. And we're going to see you on the next one, guys. Bye-bye.